Hi everyone, it's Nina and welcome back to another sewing tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how to make these super useful quilted zipper pouches. They're not only cute but also incredibly practical. I made 4 different sizes to suit all different kinds of needs, and I've been using them every single day. This is a beginner-friendly project, and in this tutorial you'll learn how to sew a fully lined quilted zipper pouch that looks neat, professional, and perfectly aligned, even if you're just starting out your sewing journey. Here are the dimensions you can use to make your quilted zipper pouch. But if you like to save time and get even better results, I've also created printable sewing patterns to make things even easier for you. The pattern set includes 4 sizes, one for a laptop sleeve, one for a daily essentials pouch, a pencil case, and a cute little coin purse. So whether you're organizing your bag, packing for travel, or just love cute storage, these are perfect for you. Using these patterns will help you get everything done quicker, more accurately, and with great precision. If you'd like to support me, you can find the patterns linked down below in the description. Now let's get started. First, I printed out the pattern and trimmed off the extra paper around the right and bottom edges. Then I assembled it by joining the pages together using double-sided tape. I used the small triangle markers on the page as reference points to make sure everything was lined up correctly. Once all the pages were aligned, I went over the seams with clear tape to keep everything nice and secure. Then I cut out all 4 pattern pieces. In this video, I'll be demonstrating how to make the everyday pouch, which is labeled as C in the pattern. For this pouch, I'm using a floral waffle knit as the outer fabric and a slightly thicker pink canvas for the lining. I placed the pattern on the back side of the outer fabric and cut around it, but I left about 1 to 2 centimeters of extra space around the edges. I didn't cut exactly to the pattern here because when I quilt the outer layer later on, the fabric is going to bunch up a little bit and make the piece slightly smaller. So by leaving that extra space, I can make sure the final quilted piece stays true to size. As for the lining, I cut those pieces exactly to the pattern since they won't be quilted. Now that all my pieces are ready, I'm going to start quilting the main fabric pieces. For this pouch, I decided to do 4 cm by 4 cm squares. To mark the lines, I used the 45-degree angle on my ruler, placed it at the corner of the fabric, and drew diagonal lines across using a heat erasable pen. Personally, I find that the easiest and most beginner-friendly way to quilt is to draw out the lines first. It really helps to sew straight, even lines, and the results look super neat and professional. The lines disappear easily when you iron over them. Next, I sewed along all the quilting lines. I started with the diagonal lines first to secure the fabric to the batting. This helps keep everything in place and makes the rest of the quilting much easier. Once the diagonals were done, I moved on to the rest of the lines. Personally, I have found that quilting in this order helps prevent the fabric from shifting or bunching up, which gives the pouch a much neater and smoother finish. I also made sure to always quilt in the same direction. That way, the fabric doesn't get stretched or distorted. And here it is all quilted. Next, I'm going to trim it down to the correct size by placing the pattern directly on top and cutting around it. I used clips to keep the pattern in place while cutting. It makes the process easier and more accurate. Now that all my pieces are ready, it's time to assemble the pouch and start sewing. First, I placed one of the quilted outer pieces on the table with the right side facing up. Then I laid the zipper on top along the top edge, with the zipper teeth facing down against the right side of the fabric. Next, I placed the lining on top of the zipper, right sides together with the main fabric. After making sure everything is aligned properly, I clipped the layers together to hold everything in place. I then sewed along the top edge, staying close to the zipper teeth. For this step, I used the zipper foot that came with my machine. It lets you get much closer to the zipper, which gives your pouch a cleaner, more professional looking finish. I made sure to backstitch at the beginning and end to secure the seam. Then I opened up the layers, flipped the lining to the back of the outer piece, and top stitched along the top edge. This helps the fabric sit flat and makes the pouch look nice and neat. Next, I'm going to attach the other side of the pouch to the zipper, using the same steps as before. I started by placing the second main fabric piece on the table with the right side facing up. Then I laid the zipper on top with the first side already attached. After that, I placed the second lining piece on top of the zipper. I clipped all the layers together, making sure the top edges were perfectly aligned. Here you can see that the 2 outer pieces are right sides facing each other and the 2 lining pieces are also right sides facing each other. I then sewed along the edge close to the zipper teeth and backstitched at both ends to secure the seam. Here's how it looks after both sides are attached to the zipper. I opened it up and arranged the layers so the lining pieces sit flat behind the outer pieces. Next, I'm going to top stitch along both sides. You can also give it a quick press with the iron to smooth everything out. I switched from the zipper foot back to my regular presser foot to sew the rest of the pouch. I always make sure to top stitch my bags because it helps the fabric sit flat, keeps it away from the zipper teeth, and gives the pouch a cleaner, more professional finish. Now we're just a few steps away from finishing the pouch. First, I'm sewing the bottom edges, matching the right sides of the outer fabric pieces together and the right sides of the lining pieces together. I make sure both ends lined up perfectly, then clip the layers in place. I sewed along both bottom edges with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. For the lining, remember to leave a small opening. That is about 5 centimeters or 2 inches, so we can turn the pouch right side out later. Before sewing the sides of the pouch, I like to do a quick extra step to make sure everything lines up perfectly in the final product. First, I match the top edges of the outer fabric pieces right where the zipper is and clip them in place. I do this to both sides of the pouch. Next, I'll just sew across that small section over the top edge and the zipper to secure it. I do this because when sewing the sides, the fabric can shift, especially over the thicker zipper area. That can cause the edges to end up misaligned. By securing the top first, it keeps everything in place so the sides match up perfectly when you sew them. After securing the top edges, I sewed up both sides of the pouch. When I reached the zipper area, I used the hand wheel to carefully stitch over it, avoiding the metal zipper stop so I wouldn't risk breaking the needle. Now that everything's sewn up, I'm going to trim the corners and edges so the pouch turns out nice and flat when flipped right side out. I cut off the pointy corners along with any excess zipper and fabric to reduce bulk. I usually trim anywhere that feels a bit bulky, but be careful, don't cut too close to your stitching or you might accidentally create openings and weaken the seams. For the final step, I turned the pouch right side out through the opening I left in the lining. As I flipped it, I adjusted the fabric layers and gently poked out the corners. Here you can see how nicely the sides line up. That's thanks to the extra step we took to secure them earlier. It's a quick and easy way to make sure the sides match perfectly, especially if you're a beginner. To close the opening in the lining, I folded the raw edges inward, pressed them into a straight line, and sewed close to the edge, backstitching at both ends to secure it. And that's it, the Quilted Zipper Pouch is all finished. I love how cute and neat it looks and such a versatile and easy project. I made this video to share my best tips for making a quilted zipper pouch that looks great while still keeping the process simple. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget, you can get the printable patterns for all 4 sizes through the link below. They make the process so much quicker, easier, and more accurate. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next sewing project.